Good afternoon, guys. This is Working, bringing you a quick update on. Actually, we're going to cover a few things today. We're going to be looking at Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, and EOS. A couple of those were on request. The others, my normal updates on Bitcoin and EOS, guys. We're just going to go ahead and just review them very quickly, as I've had a lot of questions, hasn't been a lot of change, and I'm running around like a chicken with their head cut off today, guys. I haven't even been trading today, which is an extremely rarity for me. Been watching a couple of opportunities on my phone pass me by, and it's extremely frustrating. But hey, when your better half tells you not to trade, you don't trade. You go out and priorities, right, guys? Anyway, let's jump into it here. Hopefully, you guys can make some money while I'm sitting on the sidelines here. We're looking at Bitcoin to the dollar. This is the 4-hour chart on Bitfinex, guys, and Bitcoin has started to form this bit of a wedge that I've been watching. Now, I usually love to play wedges, but in this market, guys, it's kind of I'm really hesitant to play this wedge at all, guys. In my opinion, it looks like probably again this is on the 4-hour, guys, so more than likely in the next 24 to 48 hours. In fact, if I pull out here to the daily, kind of zoom out, yeah, about exactly 24 to 48 hours at the most, we should be seeing a larger move. Now, it doesn't mean we have to; just means that probability-wise, that more than likely we're going to see a larger move. Now, in my opinion, I do think that this is ripe for a possible fake out in one direction or another. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised at all, given the manipulation in this market, to see price do one of two things. I'm watching to the downside. I'm watching this low, which is almost at 6100. So let's call it just below 610. I'm looking at price possibly coming down, creating a double bottom in this zone, possibly working right down through it to about 6100, and an immediate reversal right back to the upside to break up above this 6540, possibly coming as high as 6750. And again, I'm looking ahead probably 24 to 48 hours. Second possibility, price ends up breaking to the upside. We're watching a double top here, possibly at this zone here, sitting at about 6450, somewhere thereabouts. Double top here, possibly in here, possibly as high as this zone here, no higher than 6540 in my opinion. So anyway, price coming back up, creating a double top, trapping everybody high. Everyone's going to think price is breaking out to the upside, and they turn it right back around. Ended up crashing possibly down here below to this 5850, 5700 zone, testing the prior lows. That's a real possibility, guys. So either direction. So I would be very, very careful. In my opinion, if you are going to play this breakout, expecting a breakout in one direction or another, I would watch out. I would have my stops not necessarily extremely tight. I would expect a stop hunt possibility. Not saying it's going to happen, just a possibility. So if price does end up breaking up, guys, I would have my stop losses placed just above this prior wick. So in other words, if you're going to go short, I'd have my stop loss sitting up here at about 6590 at least. That way, it'll protect yourself against any kind of a stop hunt. Yes, you're putting yourself a little bit more at risk, but in my opinion, you're risking anyway. This is a trade. You're out to make money. Probability-wise, they're going to go on a stop hunt. If that happens, you don't want to get stopped out. So I put my stop just above this zone, expecting a possible stop hunt, and then turn right back around. That way, you're going to make the money either way. If it does continue up, you'll get stopped out up here. Yes, again, as I said, your stop will be a little bit further, but you're also, again, you're in this to make money, guys, and all you can do is play probability. Probability tells me they're going to go on a possible stop hunt. To the downside, if you're going to go long, I'd place my stop hunt below this wick here, so I'd place it just below 6100, maybe at 6090, 6080, somewhere thereabouts. And again, to protect yourself from that possible stop hunt. Now you say, if you're definitely going to go stop hunt, why not just buy down here? Because I'm not saying that they're going to, guys. This is all just risk calculation, and I mean, it could just be a complete break to the upside, guys. Who knows? We know that retail is getting a lot smarter. So they're starting to look for these stop hunts. So that might invalidate the whole thing, and it might just drag it in one direction or another. However, in my opinion, the safer bet is to protect yourself against those stop hunts, even though you're pressing your stop a little bit longer and potentially losing a little bit more money. I think in the long run, it's just a matter of probability. You do it over and over and over again, guys, and eventually you'll end up on top. You might lose one or two trades, but if you lose 2 out of 5 trades, that's pretty damn good odds, and you're making money. So anyway, guys, to the downside, if price does break 6100, I'm looking at it coming in here to 5850 to 5700. That's going to be an amazing test. If we get a major bounce off that zone, that's going to be very, very bullish. If you wanted to stack buy orders on here, by all means, go ahead and do it. But I'd have, again, my stop very, very tight below this zone, knowing that if 7500 breaks, it'll be a very quick drop, more than likely to 5500, possibly 5450. To the upside, if we do break excuse me, yeah, 5450. To the upside, if we do break 6540, I think it'll be a very quick rise to 6750, and in my opinion, that's going to be the tell-all zone. We could expect a possible bounce in that zone. If you're going to short, it would make sense to place your sell orders in that area. But again, a very tight stop, knowing if we do break above 6750, in my opinion, it could be a very, very quick rise up to at least 7,000 for certain, possibly up to this zone here of 6380, somewhere thereabouts. If we come over here, guys, we check EOS. EOS, as I said yesterday, would more than likely consolidate. That's exactly what's happened. Consolidated, moving sideways. If we kind of zoom in here, we can see that it's kind of snaking around this trend line that I was showing you guys yesterday in my update, and it's just been kind of following it down. So I'd like to see price break up above that. If price can break up above it, I think we're going to more than likely come into this zone here. We can see that if I pull my swing high, swing low from this zone up here, we can see price is hitting resistance right at that 236 fib level. If we can break above that 236, more than likely, I think there's a very good possibility we're going to come up here into this zone here, possibly test 382. That'd be if you wanted to play a scalp, that'd be a good place, as I told you yesterday, to sell some pack some sell orders, possibly targeting $5, knowing that you have to keep your stop loss tight. If price does break above this zone here, in my opinion, it could be a very, very quick rise to this 5810 zone, or as I showed you yesterday, this order block right here, and that'll be a major test. If we do end up coming to this order block, we can break above it. That'll be a very quick rise, in my opinion, to this at least 650, and at that point, we're going to be watching this ascending trend line here, this resistance line here. If price can break above that resistance line, of course, that's going to be extremely bullish, but we're nowhere near there yet, guys, to get ahead of myself. To the downside, we're going to be, if price does break below this trend line decisively and breaks below this 5496, we're going to be watching this zone down here between 5473, 5467. If that breaks down, it'll be a very quick drop to 5450, in my opinion. Excuse me. I do find it interesting pulling back out here to the weekly. As I pointed out in my last two updates, we needed to see price close at or above this resistance area, or this support area here on the weekly chart of 5496. We can see the last 4 weeks in a row I pointed out it done that, and it's interesting that again it closed right at this 4.96. Now I think it was 4.95 is where it actually closed, but again within the margin of error, guys. That's just amazing. 5 weeks in a row, we've closed right at or above this 4.96. Now, start with week 1. Week 1, we closed right at it, and then, of course, we opened, came back up, closed up here somewhere. Then week 2, what happened? We closed again right at it. Then week 3, that was week 3. Then week 4, what happened? Closed all the way above here. What happened over here? Price opened, came right back down, closed back here. So you see this pattern. We're closing at 4.96, closing above 4.96, closing at 4.96, closing above 4.96, closing at 4.96. What's this candle going to do? Is it going to close above 4.96, and are we going to get something like this massive candle here? It's very interesting to watch this pattern. What does that mean? I'm not sure, other than if we, I think this 4.96 is a very relevant zone. Price does keep coming back to that zone, and I want to see price just get the hell away from it. If we do break below it, what's going to happen? Price is going to probably very, very quickly, if it's by more than a wick, very quickly, I'm going to come back out here to the daily, very quickly drop down to that 4.50. But I think at that point, if we do break this zone here, if we do break the zone of 4.67, 4.73, if we do decisively break below that zone, just my gut is telling me this isn't going to hold. The bears are going to take full control, and more than likely we're going to come back down into this zone here, $4 to $3.50, and this is where I'd have all my buy orders. Not all. This is where I'd have a lot of buy orders. I'd have fiat on the side to be able to buy EOS at those levels, guys, because if it gets down there, and I'm not saying it's going to, and I'm not spreading FUD, I'm very bullish on EOS long term, very bullish on EOS long term. But in the short term, we could get some lower prices, and I wouldn't look at that as a bad thing. I'd look at that as a buying opportunity, guys. Remember, when there's blood in the streets, you want to buy. When everyone's panicking, you want to buy. When everyone's fat, greedy, and happy, you want to start thinking about selling. Right now, people are starting to panic. If price comes down here lower, guys, you take advantage of that. You take advantage of it all day long. You take their EOS, you say thank you, and then in the long run, this time next year, you're going to be glad that you did. Coming back here to XRP, very quickly on XRP, guys. It's operating in a much larger wedge. We're reaching the apex. We're nowhere near there yet, guys, but it's getting close in the next week or so. If price does end up breaking above this massive trend line in the next week or so, that's going to be a very bullish sign. What I'm watching, though, guys, if we're kind of zoom in here, it's kind of creating this this wedge pattern here. If this support zone breaks down, which it looks like it's going to right now, that's a rather bullish sign, guys. If we're breaking down out of this wedge, at this point, I'm going to watch this zone here between 26 and 25. That's a decent support support. If that does break down, guys, we're watching this 23 to $20 zone or 20-cent zone, 23 to 20 cents, and that's the demand zone. That's the must buy for Ripple. If you're wanting to buy Ripple, that's the must buy. I'm not saying it's going to get down there, but I'm saying if it does, I do believe that's going to be the bottom, and that's where you're going to want to stack your prices. That's also going to be coinciding nicely with this wedge here, this larger wedge pattern here, and the apex of that wedge, which could be a possible massive breakout to the upside. Watching this 27 cents, if price does break back above this 27 cents, guys, that's going to be a bullish sign. If we can close above 27 cents on the daily, I don't think it's going to happen today, but if tomorrow we can make some of this ground up, close above 27 cents, I'm going to get bullish in the short term. However, in the long term, guys, if price does continue to break down into this zone without a bounce, so if we get down into this zone 26, 25 cents, and we're not getting any kind of a reaction, that's going to be a bullish sign. More than likely, we're going to start to come back down here. And at that point, I think there's a very high probability we're going to be testing 23 to 20 cents. Looking at Ethereum, where are we here on Ethereum? Here we go. Looking at Ethereum, guys, I told you guys in my update on Ethereum like a week or so ago that this demand zone down here, I told you that price when we updated Ethereum, I believe it was sitting, where was it? I believe it was sitting up in this zone here. It had just possibly broken. I can't remember if it had broken down already, if it was going to, but I told you guys more than likely I was expecting lower prices either way. That's exactly what we saw. I told you that I'm going to get very interested in Ethereum if it comes into this 196 to 178 zone. We're sitting right on top of that zone now. That's exactly where it fell support. So that's a very valid zone, as I was pointing out, a very valid demand zone. If you wanted to slowly start laddering in buys on Ethereum right now, not a bad idea. Just know that it can come much lower. I'm going to get much more interested if we get down here to this 178 range. 178 is where I'm going to start to stack or is where I'm going to be looking to possibly buy. So I would have buy orders stacked between maybe 180 and 178 with a very tight stop at about 172, 173, something like that, guys. Maybe even 170 as a stop. Now I know some people are calling a 170 to be the bottom. That may be, and if you want to play this safely, put your stop at maybe 168, somewhere thereabouts, guys. But I do believe if 178 breaks, I think there's a possibility of a very quick drop down to 159 to 155. But yeah, this demand zone that we're in now, guys, I'm going to get very interested if it does break down further and it gets down to this possibly down here to 178 to 180. That's when I'm going to start getting very interested in watching how it reacts. If we look at the indicators here, we are getting a little bit of a sign that it might be bottoming out. Of course, if we look at price from this point to this point, it created obviously a lower low. This is on the daily. If we look at the RSI, same point, guys, we created a higher low. We have the same thing on the daily MACD. Come over here, we can see it created a clear higher low. So again, suggesting possibly we're getting near the bottom here of Ethereum. Now we know that if Bitcoin drops, Ethereum is going to drop as well. So this is, you take that with a grain of salt. But this isn't a bad time. It isn't a bad risk to reward. I do think the possibility of the upside. Excuse me. I do think possibility of upside here is possibly gaining from current price now of 196. So if we do get a strong bounce here, it could easily come back up to 225, in my opinion. I think that's a very decent, if you wanted to buy in, very decent risk to reward, targeting 225. If we do get above 225, guys, I think once we break above 225 decisively, or call it 230, once we break above 230 decisively, I think there's going to be a very, very quick rise back up into this zone here at about 280. But that zone between current price and 230, there's a lot of resistance between those two, guys, so I wouldn't be banking on that anytime soon. I would just get in and get out right at 225 if you are going to take this trade, and that is a risky trade. So again, I'd keep your stop losses very, very, very tight. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it there, guys. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, please let me know in the comment section below. As always, I would appreciate an upvote or a like or a re-steam if you think this content was valuable. Until next time, guys, please trade safe, take care of yourselves. This is Working, signing out.